It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha. Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Brouhaha 2025. Marshall Wood, Dale McKee, ready to break it on down. How you doing, Dale?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. How's 2025 treating you so far?
I hadn't really thought about it.
You hadn't thought about it? Well, think about it and let us know.
Nothing bad, I guess. You know, you know, like anything, when you get my age,
it's all good.
No, you know, you seem to go to the doctor a lot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Trust me, I understand how that works. I tell you what, keeping up with some of these sports, I imagine there's a lot of people feeling like they need to go to the doctor after a weekend. You know, all this sight and stuff goes on. People get all worked up over things, and then when the things don't go their way, it can be depressing a little bit, can it not?
Oh, yeah.
How do you think the Bills feel?
Well, you know, they were 0-4 in Super Bowls, and now they're 0-4 against the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I imagine they're not feeling too good this morning. But you know what? They've got a good team. They have nothing to be ashamed of. But you know, the Chiefs just got that magic. I don't know what it is. And you know what? You're just going to have to take the home field advantage away from them, too, in the playoffs.
Man, this is Mahomes, what, fifth in 6 years? Fifth trip in 6 years to the Super Bowl.
They've been
could be the third win in a row for him. Is that right?
Could be the third win, yeah.
In a row. And I think he's already been to more in a 6 year period than anybody else.
And this will be his fourth Super Bowl ring.
Could be.
Yeah, they've only lost one time.
Yeah. You know, I'm looking at the Bills. Josh Allen. I've always been a Josh Allen fan. I like him.
Yeah, I do too.
But you know, 2020 wild card loss, 2021 AFC Championship loss, 2022 divisional loss, 2023 divisional loss, 2024 divisional loss, 2025 AFC Championship loss. That sounds kind of familiar to a guy named Jim Kelly, does it not? Mm-hmm. The Buffalo Bills, man, they are snake bit when it comes to playoffs, aren't they? Mm-hmm. And Super Bowls.
Yeah.
That thing down there, man, when Kelly was there and those 4 times they went and couldn't win one, man, that just break your heart for them, you know? You just hated it for them.
Yeah.
They just can't get it done.
I got you.
Where are you standing on those folks?
Well, I like the Bills. I feel sorry for them in a sense, but you know, we're on the verge of history here. If they can, you know, win it 3 times, not many people have done that in any sport.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That's a big deal, buddy. That's a big deal.
Now, on the flip side,
yeah.
I heard this on have you ever heard of the Greeny Show? The guy from New York, ESPN, that does...
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Oh, Green, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, anyway.
yeah.
So they came out with the trivia the other day. What NFL team has not been to the playoffs in 14 years, which is a North American record for all sports?
Okay, what's the question again?
Okay. What NFL team
has
not been to the playoffs in their sport in the last 14 years? Now, just the playoffs. And so this is for all sports, whether it's hockey, soccer, football, basketball, anything. Now, this is just professional, though.
Okay, so we're not reeling it to a single sport. We're not talking about
we're talking about football, NFL football. There's one NFL team that has not been in the playoffs in 14 years.
Cleveland Browns.
No, they've been.
Really? Well, who is it?
The New York Jets.
The Jets. Well, that's
Jets.
Same thing. I should have known that. But the Browns. When did the Browns go?
I have no idea.
Oh, but they have been.
I just heard the answer, the Jets. I assume they were right. They may have been wrong.
Well, I come in here with this stuff, and I'm going to throw some more stuff in the final segment tonight that I'm assuming is right. So you know what they say about assumption. It's the lowest form of knowledge. But, you know, we don't have to operate on the lowest form of knowledge because we got you.
No.
And that's upper echelon knowledge.
Hey.
So before we say another, who is our guest tonight?
All right, we got WJTV sports reporter Blake Levine. He's one of the better ones in the business, I promise you. He's out of Jackson.
Okay.
And he's going to talk to us about NFL football.
Man, this ought to be good. Coming up, Super Bowl coming up, all that set in motion.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, let's do, Dale. Let's take a break here from our sponsor, and we'll be back tonight with tonight's guest. Blake, you just said Blake?
Blake Levine.
Blake Levine. We'll be back with Blake right after this commercial break. See you after the message.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome to the show, Blake. Blake, how you on this? I assume cloudy, rainy Monday in Mississippi.
Yeah, it rained all night. I mean, look, it's better than the snow that we just saw, so we'll take that instead.
All right. Well, you're not. You've seen snow, right? Syracuse, New York. Is that where you went to college? You probably.
Oh man, the snow. Yeah, I think if they said it was like 180 inches a winter, and I got to see every inch of it.
Well, that's not a bad gig there. All right. Well, listen. Let's talk about the NFL. Okay. Tell us about your thoughts on the first game yesterday, Philadelphia and Washington.
Saquon Barkley is one of the best running backs I've ever seen. I'm only 30 years old, so I can only judge the last 30 years, right? Yeah. I can watch highlights and all that, but I can only judge the last 30 years. And in the last 30 years, he's one of the most talented running backs there's ever been. The Philadelphia Eagles defense is just so good, and it's crazy because they had one of the worst defenses last year, and outside of a few player differences, it's generally close to the same as last year, except for a few younger players and then Braun, the linebacker. So really impressive by the Philadelphia Eagles. As of today, they were the healthiest, best team in the NFC. As a Detroit Lions fan, I felt like if our team was healthy, maybe it would have had a shot. But kudos to the Philadelphia Eagles. Just super impressive. Saquon Barkley, very happy for him. He was a good soldier with the Giants, so happy to see that he gets what he deserves. And that team is just loaded with talent. And for Washington, they may learn that was one of their best chances to make the Super Bowl. Everyone thinks that, we were so close with a rookie quarterback, we'll be right back here next year. Doesn't really work that way in NFL football unless you got a superstar quarterback. Maybe he is, but we don't know yet. But not surprised the Eagles beat him pretty good.
You know, you mentioned Saquon Barkley, and one thing that really made an impression with me about him, I'm a big fan of his, and it really sealed it yesterday when I guess the rookie got the touchdowns, that Shipley that came out of Clemson. And, man, Barkley was off that bench and in that end zone hugging and congratulating him. Man, I really like that about that guy. Team player.
Yeah, well, could you imagine? He almost broke the rushing record, albeit, with an extra game, and I know he didn't end up breaking it. He didn't play the last game, and he had almost 20 touchdowns. Imagine if they didn't do that push at the 1 yard line every single time, and they gave it to him instead. Yeah. What would his numbers look like then?
Yeah.
And then Jalen Hurts had 3 rushing touchdowns yesterday. If anyone wants to go back, and I believe it was the second rushing touchdown Hurts had, the block that Barkley put on the linebacker that sprung the touchdown, that's an unselfish player.
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely is. He is. If he's not the most valuable player, I don't know who would be. But he's a good guy too. And we've got the Dean boy from Mississippi that plays linebacker for him. But that Carter boy from Georgia, he's a beast, man. You don't get in his way very often. I saw him slug one of them.
Yeah, he punched you right in the face.
He got one of them Redskins right there, right where it hurt, right in the jaw area or something, But anyway, but they're a talented team. And like you said, now the Washington team, and I admire what they did this year. I think they really turned it around. But there was a reason that they got that low draft, that high draft pick last year. And their schedule was kind of in relation to how they finished, the way the NFL does it. So they may have a little tougher schedule next year, by the way, too. So it is hard to get to to keep going back and back. So now we go to a team that's going back to back to back. What'd you think about the Chiefs and the Bills yesterday?
It's greatness. I mean, I understand people want to complain about and they don't want to see the Chiefs anymore. But for me personally, I love watching the Chiefs play. I love watching greatness. I liked watching the Patriots play. I liked watching LeBron James play. I liked watching Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers play. I respect teams that are able to do it over and over again. And the Kansas City Chiefs, Mahomes, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, but their special teams is excellent. Harrison Butker, great kicker. Their punt returner, kick returner, excellent. Their defense, excellent. Defensive line gets after it. Josh Allen went like a month without being touched, and he got sacked 4 times. It's really impressive. They do so many things well, and then they have excellent coaching. I mean, Steve Spagnuolo, if they win this year, he will have his 5th Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator.
Wow.
His first one being with the Giants when they stopped the undefeated Patriots with Michael Strahan, and then the 4 with Kansas City. And the few years he wasn't there, they weren't winning when he, was away. So it's really impressive the type of coaching players they have all over the field. I mean, it's not just Mahomes, it's not just Reed, it's the collection that makes them so special. Because at the end of the day, it was their defense that made the biggest stop of the game.
Yes. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. They are just a very, very talented valedictorian, and like you said, they're just really, really well coached, and that really helps.
Chris Jones makes a big impact on that defense too. That's a Mississippi name for you.
Yeah. Well, listen, you talk about that, and I'm kind of like you. I'm a little bit older than you, Blake, by a long way.
50 years.
50 years, 40 years at least. But I've seen a lot of NFL games too, and it's hard to compare older players with the newer players. But Barkley sure is up there with greatness for sure. But getting to the Chiefs, I haven't seen this done since the Packer dynasty of the '60s. The Packers won it 61-62, and then they missed out 2 years while the Bears and I believe the Browns won it. And then all of a sudden, they won 65, 66, 67, the NFL championship, and they went to the first 2 Super Bowls. So we really hadn't seen greatness like this. And I do understand sometimes how people say, well, I'm tired, I want to see somebody else, this and that. But I think a lot of the hate is coming toward him, and I think Mahomes is a great kid. I mean, he's always seems very, very professional when he's being interviewed or something like that. And Kelsey seems like just a fun-loving kid, playing football. But people fuss about the referees. Are they really Kansas City Chiefs employees?
By the way, we don't have enough time on this radio station for me to complain about the people complaining about the ref. I want to complain about the complainers.
We're in with you.
By the way, you know who also got great calls? Michael Jordan. You know who also got great calls? Tom Brady. You know who also got great calls? Barry Bonds. When you're great, people want to find ways to diminish you. Yeah. But good teams get good calls. And I don't mean that they're getting better calls per se on the that was a iffy call. Of course it's going to go to the Chiefs. No. They're in the right place at the right time. They're the lucky luck favors the prepared, right? You've heard that phrase all the time. And the Kansas City Chiefs are not lucky because they can't get lucky 100% of the time, right? Because that's not how luck works. At some point, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me ask you another thing.
And Josh Allen did not get that first down. People can keep drawing lines on pictures to explain to me that he got that first down.
Yeah.
I have eyes. I got 20/20 vision. He didn't make it.
He didn't make it. All right. Well, listen. What about the? Is the Taylor Swift thing maybe making people anti-Chiefs?
Oh yeah. Let's hate on a woman who gave monster bonuses to her truck drivers on tour. Yeah, let's hate that person. I don't understand. They show Matthew McConaughey on the sidelines during a Texas game. He's damn near shaking Steve Sarkisian's hand in between plays.
I don't understand that. This guy's awesome. Yeah, what is the deal, McConaughey? What's he doing down there?
I'm sorry I got you going there.
Listen, Brouhaha, let it fly, baby, let it go.
Is this what we're going to do as guys now? We're going to hate on other guys that are good looking? Yeah, no. I don't think as the guy community, this is a good idea.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like you. Mahomes seems like a good guy. Kelsey, Andy Reid's a lovable coach. I mean, come on, you know.
What's to hate?
You know, and then people are saying, well, maybe if they lose, they won't be on any of the Allstate commercials anymore. You know, I don't understand it either, Blake. So I'm kind of on your side about that. But you know, it just you know, it's just something. I'm not a big Taylor Swift song. I've never really heard her song, but I don't think that you need to beat on somebody just to beat on them like that. You know, and without
again,
really knowing them.
That people get frustrated, right? Because you know they think that becoming great is something that is easy and it's just done. It just happens, right? I mean, it just doesn't happen that way. And I know that we like the lovable story, like the Detroit Lions, that, you know, worked hard from being bad and then all of a sudden got good. But, you know, the Kansas City Chiefs were blowing 28-point leads before Patrick Mahomes stepped on that field with Andy Reid. It was not an overnight thing. They worked extremely hard. They lost to Tom Brady in a grueling overtime game, but then they beat the Bills in an overtime game, and now we got to change the rules.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand the hate for the Chiefs. Maybe it's just because they're winners. People hate winners.
Yeah. Well, who do you think has the better talent going into the Super Bowl between the Eagles and the Chiefs? Because they look pretty strong.
Is Patrick Mahomes playing in the game?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, great. I'll take the Chiefs.
Well, what about Barkley? Is he playing in the game?
Now we going. Now we going.
Look, Saquon Barkley is wonderful.
Yeah.
He's great. But the only way you're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs is you're going to have to knock Mahomes on his backside like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did in the Super Bowl. Because when Tampa Bay beat them, they held them to 9 points. I don't think they might. I can't remember if there was a touchdown. I can't remember exactly how they got to the 9 points. But that was the worst I've ever seen Mahomes play in a big game. The worst I ever saw Tom Brady play in a big game was when the Giants defensive line got him. It's going to be on Jalen Carter and that defensive line if they're going to beat them.
Yes. I kind of agree with you. I don't think I don't think that you bet. I don't think you need to bet against the Chiefs for sure because you know Patrick Mahomes, and I know you're from Southern California, but you probably missed why he was playing. But Patrick reminds me of a Magic Johnson in a sense that you know all Magic did was win. You know, and of course that was when it was the great Showtime, and they had some great players like Jabbar and all those players. And so, you know, that's kind of who he reminds me of if you were identifying with another sport, because he's a playmaker at quarterback. He makes plays. He's like a Magic that goes to the goal, and, you know, he'll make the first down for you yesterday. There was 2 or 3 crucial runs yesterday that he made that they had to have, and one time it was late in the first half when there was they were right around midfield and they had 4th and something and they had to go for it. If they'd have missed it, the Bills might have got another field goal. But I thought the Bills had a hand in their loss, and not knocking anybody, but I'm not sure the coach should have went off for those 2-point conversions as much as he did and things like that. But anyway. So
the Bills, hold on. The Bills had the ball in their MVP candidate's hand with 3:30 left, with a chance to walk the game off.
Yeah.
I would have signed up for that before the game.
Yeah.
All right.
They had their shot. They had their shot.
Yeah, they did. Listen, let's change the subject for just a second. We're going to stick with football, NFL football. What do you think about the coaching searches in Dallas and New Orleans? Do they puzzle you?
Oh, well, the Saints one puzzles me. The Cowboys one less. You know, Jerry Jones just wants a puppet, so I guess that kind of fits. Sorry to Brian Schottenheimer. He may be a great guy, but he knows what he's signing up for. Jerry Jones knows what he's getting, so not very surprising. The Deion stuff was just a joke. I mean, he just wanted it in the media. The Saints' problem is their cap situation is so bad, their GM has shown no inkling to being able to fix it or wanting to fix it. So if you're a head coach, you walk into cap hell, and you don't know if the GM is just going to double down again. It's the worst job. It's the worst job opening.
I wouldn't want it.
No, I don't think
The best job opening was the Chicago Bears, and they got Ben Johnson, who was a very coveted coach.
Yeah, he's well, supposedly he's hiring Dennis Allen, the Saints head coach, as his defensive coordinator, and he's so he's kind of making his staff pretty strong there and everything. What did you think the Jets made a pretty good hire there in Aaron Glenn, or is it any hope?
Yeah, but how is he any? Yeah, but how is he any different than Robert Saleh?
Well, that's true too. Do you think Aaron Rodgers will come back? Do you think he had a hand in who the head coach would be?
I think Aaron Rodgers does come back, and he is the starting quarterback next year. I believe it's about a $40 million cap hit if he is cut or traded. So I see them rolling back with him, and Aaron Glenn trying to use next year as a culture-building season, less about, let's win X amount of games. Let's just try to get it right. And, he's very Dan Campbell Jr. Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, is more of the whiz kid, Sean McVay type of person. Aaron Glenn is very Dan Campbell-like. So if he's able to do what Dan Campbell did, I mean, look, they went 3-13 in their first year. Maybe Aaron Glenn goes 3-14 in their first year. But if they could start building that culture, and then, Aaron Rodgers comes off the book and they have the cap space, boom, then all of a sudden they're 9-8 that next year. So I do think Aaron Rodgers does come back.
All right. Well, listen. What about just looking ahead for just a minute and changing the subject? And I hope this is not a sneak attack on you, but what you think about college baseball this year? You think Southern Miss and Mississippi State and Ole Miss will be back in the picture in the tournament this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mississippi State's probably the best of the three at the moment. It's very hard with baseball, especially now with the transfer portal, what you're going to get any given season. I mean, it was a little bit easier back in the day, but baseball is such a unique sport in that fashion. It's actually the hardest sport to predict. It's by far. Yes, you might know some of the great teams, but those middle, you just don't know. But at the moment, I think Mississippi State probably has the best team, and Southern Miss is probably second then Ole Miss. Ole Miss sucks to lose Austin Simmons. He's going to be the starting quarterback of the Ole Miss Rebels. So he was a really big loss because he's a really good baseball player. Southern Miss, I think they have a good roster. I'm not sure yet. I think they're probably somewhere around the 25th to the 35th best baseball team right now, maybe just outside the top 25. D1 had Mississippi State around the 20s. I think that's probably fair. I think they have some really talented players. We'll see how their pitching holds up. It's been kind of the problem the last couple of years, although a little bit better last year. So I think Ole Miss is the one that I'm most concerned about.
Well, listen, one other question, and this is probably the last question. Is this NIL going forward in our state? I'm talking about Ole Miss State and really those two to start with, because I think Southern Miss right now is lagging a little bit behind. Are they going to be able to keep up the NIL pace?
I think the concern's actually going to be less. I think when the new rules come in that the schools are allowed to pay a certain amount for players, that will help a little bit, because I think Ole Miss and maybe State will spend to that maximum of what the school is allowed to pay. Not sure about Southern Miss. That's tough to say. I think as long as you're winning, it's a catch-22. As long as you're winning, I think people are going to invest. But for State, they're going to need someone dynamic to get in there and really change it before people really want to invest big numbers. They obviously have some level of boosters that pay. But, again, the chicken or the egg, they kind of need to start winning, and then all of a sudden the boosters are more willing to spend.
Listen, I told you in our pregame interview there a little bit that I'd show up at some time and say we're out of time, and, well, here we are, Blake. We've made the run, and I tell you what, time flies when you're having fun, and I'm telling you, friend, you've been a lot of fun tonight. We really appreciate you.
Oh, man, anytime, guys. I enjoy it.
I'm going to ask you to hang on just a minute. We're going to take a break to hear from one of our sponsors, and Dale and I will be back with tonight's final segment of the Brouhaha after this commercial break.
Phillips Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back, everybody. Boy, I tell you what, man, you pulled a live wire out of the bucket. With that one, man,
Lord.
He's fun. I'm telling you, he'll get up on his.
Blame it on a woman.
He'll get up on his toes real quick, won't he? I love it, man.
Well, I mean, that is what I hear. I mean, I don't know what he hears, but people are saying, man, I hope the Chiefs lose, them referees cheating them, or man, I don't like that Taylor Swift. I mean, they're telling me that. So I just ask a question, you know.
Well, I don't like Taylor Swift either, but anyway, that's all right.
But anyway.
Good interview. Lots of fun coming up. Here's some questions. Here's some things. I found this little deal. Quarterbacks with the most Super Bowl wins, Dale. Super Bowl coming up in a couple of weeks.
I would have to say Brady.
Yeah, well, you got him. He's got 7. He's won them between two places. The Patriots, of course, and he got him one at the Bucks. Mm-hmm. The next 2 come in, man, that's coming from back in our day. You ought to know both these guys.
Well, I think one of them would be Bradshaw.
Yes, sir.
One of them maybe Montana.
You nailed it. Bradshaw and Montana both got 4. Coming in at number 3, kind of a. We got 2 guys coming in with 3.
3, huh?
Yeah, the last 2 guys.
The last 2 guys with 3. Well, let's see. Did Staubach win 3?
No, he didn't.
No, we didn't.
But you're in the right franchise.
Aikman.
There you go.
Aikman.
There you go. Now let's see. Now let's see how current you are. There's your hint, dog.
Mahomes.
You got it. You're perfect. You're perfect,
Well, I
McKee.
missed one. I said Roger.
Well, yeah, you did. You're not perfect. Hey, like the song, you're close enough to perfect for me.
There you go.
I don't require much. All right, that's good. Now, let's see what's else over here. The last time, I got a little deal, each team won a Super Bowl. The last time. You know, we talk about did the Dolphins, were they perfect that year?
Yeah, they were 17-0.
They were perfect, okay. That happened in 1974. They hadn't won one since. But, boy, they were perfect for a while, weren't they?
Yeah.
1974. The Jets' last one was in 1969. That probably their only one, wasn't it? Is that the one?
That's the only one.
Broadway, Joe?
It's the only one they've been to.
Yeah. All right. The Raiders, man. These guys we grew up watching, man. 84. The Bears, man, you ought to know.
85 Bears. Boy, we ain't the 85 Bears playing defense.
The Washington Commanders, well, they weren't the Commanders when they won that Super Bowl. What were they, Dale?
The Redskins.
Okay, when was that?
They should be. I heard President Trump was going to change their name
Back?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That he was going to write a.
Presidential order?
Yeah.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. He'd do whatever he'll do. If he wants to do it, he'll sure do it. But anyway.
I would say it had to be in the 80s, right? 80,
92.
92, okay.
Yeah, I would like you I'd have gravitated back.
Yeah.
Here's some teams that's never won one. Did we discuss that already?
Well, you answered one of them, Cleveland, a while ago. Cleveland's never won one. Detroit's never won one.
Yeah.
I don't think Arizona's ever won one.
They have not.
I don't think, I'm trying to think of
Jackie Smith dropped a touchdown in the end zone one time. Could have given him a chance, didn't he? Old number 81. Boy, that was a heartbreaker. I don't know if that was in the Super Bowl, but it would have. If it wasn't, it would have got.
That was the Cowboys. He played for the Cowboys.
Okay. Was that when he was with the Cardinals? But he was with the Cowboys in that game. Most of his career was with the Cardinals.
Staubach through it.
I got you.
The Dirty Birds have never won one.
And that tickles me to death, but I ain't going to go there.
Carolina's never won one.
Never won one. Buffalo, And but anyway, anything else you got going on, Dale?
Oh, Minnesota's never won one.
You're right.
They're 0-4.
You're right. They've been to 4 and hadn't won one. Mm-hmm. Man, they're really losers.
Yeah.
Well, Dale, anything else you want to close out before?
Nah, listen, I think we had a great show, but we got a great lineup coming up in February.
Yeah, let's talk about that in just a minute, Dale. What you got lined up? What's it looking like? Now, we're not making any guarantees, but it's looking good so far, like old Tom Cruise said in that movie that time. Looking good so far. So, I
I reached out to 4 people.
4 people.
I got 3 yeses, and I hadn't heard from the 4th one.
Man, you batting 1,000.
So I'm trying to get that 4 for 4.
Okay, let's do it. I believe in you. Who you got?
Well, next week we got the former New Orleans Saints and Ole Miss quarterback John Forgay.
He will be a blast.
He will give us. He will be as good as Blake, and he is going to tell us about the Saints coaching search. And he'll have his own thoughts about that.
That'll be good.
And he'll also talk about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be in the mix of it there.
Yeah.
Because that's Monday of Super Bowl week.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Okay. The following week we're going to get into baseball a little bit. We got Ben Ingram. Ben is the lead radio announcer for the Atlanta Braves.
Wow.
And
That's a big deal, Dale.
and he's from Madison, Mississippi, and he's going to be on there. And for you that that has rural power like Singing River or Dixie Electric or East Mississippi that are listening to this show, the Today in Mississippi magazine that comes out this month will have an article on Ben in there. And the following week on the 18th, we got Rick Cleveland.
Man,
So if you're a sports fan, Mississippi, you've probably read something that he's
Mississippi
written.
legendary,
Yeah.
Mississippi.
So
writer.
anyway, and then after that, I got one that's I'm thinking it's been pretty impressive, but we're just going to
You gonna hold that one in your pocket?
Yeah, for the last.
It's gonna be a surprise.
Yeah, we're trying to work out what did they call it? The
Logistics?
The logistics. Yeah,
Glad I
that
could
word.
help.
I like
once
that word.
with this show.
I like that word. Well, listen, you do more than you think, for sure.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Dale. That's an outstanding lineup. I'm excited about that. And if you're out there listening, we hope you'll be excited. But Dale and I are about out of time. We want to thank you for joining us today. We want to thank our guests for being with us. And want to encourage you to follow us during the week at our Facebook page, The Brouhaha, and all of our shows are cataloged where you can listen on demand or the YouTube channel at The Brouhaha. But now it's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Well, since I didn't say it last week, can I say it twice? Goodbye, Dale. Goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale. We'll see you next week. Get us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to The Brouhaha with Del McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of The Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.